Our next speaker is going to be Honorable Malema. But honorable members, please note the following. Please note the following, that when Honorable Malema exceeds his 20 minutes, he will take from Honorable Mente's time, which is 12 minutes, and the table will keep us informed as it proceeds.
Yes.
Please proceed.
Thank you very much. We take this opportunity to acknowledge the leadership of the EFF and present here the officials.
Yes, honorable member, just a minute, Honorable Malema. Honorable member, what's your point of order?
Speaker, on a point of order, I'm rising to find out what is Honorable Malema going to debate. He was not part of the SONA. There's nothing for him to debate. He must sit down.
No, unfortunately, Honorable Member, that's not the point of order. Please proceed, Honorable Malema.
I have no time for boys. We take this opportunity to acknowledge the leadership of the EFF present here, the officials, commissars from the CCT, PCT, RCT, and BCT members, the ground forces of the uncompromising movement watching from all over the country and the continent, including the African diaspora, importantly, the people of South Africa. We also acknowledge the leadership of the opposition parties present here in Parliament. Under normal circumstances, we're supposed to acknowledge a president and a speaker of Parliament. But for a very long time now, and particularly after the revelations of crimes in Palapala, we can boldly state that the South Africa does not have head of state and president. The one who was there before has renounced his constitutional privilege to continue as President of the Republic of South Africa. South Africa's constitution obliges anyone who is elected as a president to uphold, respect, and defend the constitution, and we can say boldly here that Mr. Ramaphosa has failed to uphold, respect, and defend the constitution. The misconduct of the Speaker on the 9th of February 2023 has also disqualified her as a legitimate Speaker of Parliament. The Speaker referred to members of this House as animals and violated the Constitution and the rules of the National Assembly when she allowed the police to invade Parliament and made it worse by calling on the security forces of South Africa to enter the chambers to intimidate peaceful members of Parliament who had their hands up, holding placards to protest against the sole director of Ntaba Nyoni Estate Pty Ltd, the company that owns Palapala Farm in Limpopo and unlawfully engaged in trade through currencies that cannot be used in South Africa. As a result, we have already submitted a motion of no confidence against Mrs. Nosiviwe Mapisa Nqakula, and we officially withdraw our honor we previously showed her. We also apologize for having showed her the honor when she evidently does not respect Parliament, does not respect the laws of this country, and can do everything to stay in office. Under no circumstances should a democratic Parliament be harassed and intimidated by the state security forces. The Constitutional Court has ruled that the police must stay away from lawmakers. It is the responsibility of the Speaker of Parliament to make sure that members of Parliament execute their responsibility without any fear or intimidation. But once you usher in police inside the chambers, you are effectively saying and allowing the tyrant to intimidate and even possibly prosecute those who disagree with the tyrant. The police must never be allowed inside the chamber because that is where the executive is held accountable. And those who are in power, if they do not have answers, may be tempted to use the security forces to intimidate those who are holding them accountable. I've known the president of the ANC longer than many of you, and he has known me when I was very young. Under no circumstances will he ever be threatened by me, or can he feel that his life is under threat because Julius is next to him. I've been next to him before. Many of you joined the ANC, including the second Deputy Secretary General of the ANC. So there is no need for you to behave like you can protect him against the people who sit with him in the chamber, and he does so without even having bodyguards, without being intimidated. The president himself said when he was playing golf the following day that he never felt intimidated, neither was he scared when he was in this parliament. So who are you saying? What are you saying? The people who use your own stomachs to think. The president has put you under the bus, those who said the president was under threat. He said himself was never under threat, neither was he intimidated. So what were the police doing here? They were here because the speaker has lost total control of this parliament, and that's why she must step down. We take this opportunity to pay tribute to fearless ground forces and volunteers who gathered 10 years ago in Uncle Tom's Hall and said economic freedom in our lifetime. The organization that you started 10 years ago is a force to be reckoned with and a fighting instrument in the hands of the people. Despite the fact that you, as ground forces of the EFF, defined the EFF to be, amongst other things, a protest movement, you also said we are a government in waiting. As we are talking here today, we are a government in the city of Johannesburg, where the EFF was founded. And the EFF is responsible for public safety and healthcare and social development. We can assure the people of Johannesburg that the crime in the economic capital of South Africa will go down, and our communities will receive better primary health care, which will be premised on massive public education on health care and health matters. Public safety is what we are going to ensure. We will demonstrate to the people of Johannesburg that we will reduce the levels of contact crime, murder, robberies, car hijackings, assault with intention to do grievous bodily harm in all crime spots of Johannesburg, particularly Hillbrow, GP, Central Johannesburg, Orange Farm, Alexander, Ivory Park, Honeydew, and Midrand. We will not tolerate criminals anywhere in the city of Johannesburg. Our energy services must understand.
Honorable Malema, just a minute. I see your hand is up, Honorable Member. Can I find out on what point are you rising?
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm rising on 14P. The honorable member on the podium have taken this very same house, have litigated the very same house, who have been schooled by him that the president have taken. No, you can howl. We have been schooled by that one. Listen, we have been schooled by that one. He told us that the president have taken parliament to court. Therefore, president cannot address this house. The very same thing have done it. He does not have any standing to address this house. He is a delinquent. He disrupts the house. Therefore, he must also not be allowed to address the house chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. But that's not a point of order, unfortunately. Please proceed, Honorable Member.
There is a difference between addressing and debating. Very thin line. I'm not addressing, I'm debating. We can assure the people of Johannesburg.
Honorable Malema, I see there's another hand. Please sit for a minute. Honorable Member, please start off by indicating on what point of order are you rising? On what point are you rising? On what point?
Chair, I'm raising on a point of order, quoting Article 14P, on the use of offensive languages by Honorable Malema, who undermined the president and undermined the house by using offensive languages the last time. Now, before Mahoromeja continues to address, Mahoromeja must first apologize to the parliament or he must not address, because we can't be addressed by Makhurumeja, who undermines this parliament.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable members, can I really make a plea that when we rise on a point of order, it should really be a point of order. I'm not going to really allow any other person to make a speech in the pretext of raising a point of order. Please desist from doing so. Honorable Malema.
Thank you very much. The health and social development, the primary principle and approach of the EFF to healthcare is based on primary healthcare and accessibility of clinics for 24 hours. Each and every ward in the city of Johannesburg must have healthcare facility, whether it is a hospital, clinic, poly or mobile clinic. What primary healthcare means is that our nurses and departments of health as a whole must not wait for patients to come to them only when they are terminally ill and require expensive and sophisticated healthcare operations. Primary healthcare means that the Department of Health must perpetually and permanently raise awareness and conduct massive public education of essential preventative health issues confronting our communities. Our health department will work with schools, community forums, and community-based organizations to publicly educate our people on preventative healthcare measures. We will make sure that all the acting positions, both in public safety and in health and social development in Johannesburg, are filled so that we can give our people a proper service. The EFF remains the only dependable and reliable weapon for the total liberation of the working class and Africans here in South Africa, the African continent, and the African diaspora. Throughout the year, we'll be celebrating the 10 years existence of the EFF and preparing for a journey ahead. We take this opportunity to say to the people of South Africa, what you are listening to is not a real state of the nation, it's a hearsay. Our country is in the middle of several man-made crises. The man who's currently at the center of South Africa's crisis is a full-time businessman, animals trader, possibly a puppet of both the domestic and global capitalist interest, who has said that the job of president for him is a part-time job, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa. Let us start from the bottom. Despite many promises of universal access to early childhood development, millions of particularly black children in villages and townships have no access to early childhood development. What this means is that children of white people are born with strategic advantage and privilege over black children because white people's children start education before even turn 2 years old, while black children are only given access to education at the age of 5 and 6. And even when they go to school, these schools do not have the advanced technologies and teaching support system available for white children. This year will mark exactly 29 years since the first inclusive elections, yet we still have primary and secondary schools that use pit toilets, and we still have schools without electricity, without water, without access to basic necessities. The reality is that public education in South Africa has collapsed and has opened space for extremely expensive private schools which majority of our people cannot afford and cannot reach. In the year 2022, almost 1 million students wrote their senior certificate examination, matric, and yet there are less than 200,000 spaces available in universities of technology and universities because no one amongst those who are in government planned for the future of these students. In actual fact, there's been more than 4 million applications into institutions of higher learning when the spaces available are less than 200,000. Despite the former president of the ANC announcing fee-free higher education in 2019, there's still no free decolonized education in South Africa. Academically deserving yet poor students are being turned away from institutions of higher learning because of lack of money. Those who protest against fees are being shot and killed with no consequences, like fighter Madonsela was killed at the Durban University of Technology. There is still a shortage of more than 500,000 beds for students at TVET colleges, University of Technology and universities, and without decent and safe accommodations, students are subjected to high levels of crime, abuse, and often taken advantage of by different people. The South African government has neglected its obligation to create a safe and conducive teaching and learning environment for students. Those who sacrifice and go through endurance of finishing their students are often thrown into a very large section of the unemployment in South Africa. More than 12 million capable South Africans who are looking for jobs, including those who are discouraged, cannot find jobs anywhere because there is no meaningful program to create jobs for young people. Unemployment in South Africa is too high, and as if that is not enough, the South African Post Office has announced that it will be worsening the crisis of unemployment through retrenchment of more than 6,000 workers. The fact is that South Africa currently has close to 20 million people who are dependent on social grant, and it's not a cause for celebration, particularly when viewed from the fact that even these social grants do not eliminate poverty. There is absolutely no child and definitely no adult who can survive and thrive with $350 or $450 per month, whereas in a country with rising costs of living. Not even the dogs of the presiding president survives on $450 per month. The form of social assistance provided by government since 1994 has not been impactful in reducing poverty because the current government is incapable of creating jobs and taking our people out of poverty. Landlessness is still the biggest challenge confronting our people, and our attempts as the EFF to resolve the land question was undermined by the puppets of neocolonialism and imperialism. We are here today with still working under a constitution that protects the rights of stolen property because the land in the ownership and control of colonial settlers and their descendants is stolen land, and no amount of lies will hide the fact that settlers are in possession of stolen goods. In the middle of landlessness, joblessness, and many crises that define South Africa, we have high levels of crime which are perpetuated by the fact that we have an incapable and unwilling police minister who has always shown up after the crimes and only pose for cameras. This leader has demonstrated that he has got nothing to offer except to project himself as a modern-day model. He is indeed a certified fool without any alternative to reducing crime in South Africa. We said before that the current leadership of the police is incapable, and we are firmly called for the removal of some of these imposters, and our cries fell on deaf ears.
Let's see the point of order, listen to the point of order.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. The member in the podium has used an offensive language by referring to the minister as an FOON. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Malema.
He didn't quote the rule. He didn't quote the rule, Chair.
No, never mind the quoting. The point is that
I can't hear you, Chair. Switch on. They wrote for you. Switch on.
Honorable, please behave.
I can't hear.
Please behave.
But I said I can't hear.
Please behave.
I can't hear.
Now, Honorable Malema, I'm calling upon you to withdraw the use of an offensive word, and that word is fool.
I withdraw, Chair.
Thank you
We
very
have
much.
on several occasions called on the President to release the clever minister who has always shown up for cameras all the time there is a crime scene. with an intention of arresting wrong people and mess up the crime scene and mess up the case. Today we speak, crime has gone very high in South Africa in all respect. We don't even want to talk about GBV. We don't want to talk about cash in transit haste. We don't want to talk about contact crime, because the leadership of the police is in cahoots with the criminals. The only way we can be defeated in dealing with crime is only when the leadership of the police is working with criminals. The leadership of the police works with drug lords. The leadership of the police works with Nkabis. The leadership of the police is in the payroll of hitmen and women of this country. The leadership of the police actually planned the assassination of our deputy president, a matter that we brought to the attention of the president, that the minister was involved in the plot of killing the deputy president of the EFF. This is a matter that has been reported
Honorable
and has
Malema,
been confirmed.
Honorable Malema, please take your seat. Honorable Khatebe, on what point are you rising?
Chairperson, thank you, Honorable Chairperson. The member has cast aspersions on the minister without substantiating the fact.
Yes.
No, Rule 12 is very clear. Rule 12, Chair, is very clear that the rules of the NA applies in the joint sitting when the member of the NA is on the platform. So the member of
you need to have a substantive motion put in front of the House so that the matter can be thoroughly debated.
I withdraw, Chair.
Thank you very much.
When the daughter of our former Secretary General was killed,